Eastern Kentucky law enforcement officers were charged in an FBI sting. The 42-count indictment outlined a scheme of drug smuggling, extortion, and protection of drug traffickers. Defense attorneys alleged their clients had been set up and predicted a long trial.
My client, taken by total surprise by the fact that he's been indicted with respect to these charges. He expects ultimately to be totally vindicated, and with the number of people that are involved in the case, it's just not something we can flash on the wall. It takes time.
Well, I don't think the court's going to reconsider that between now and the trial, so I would assume that it makes it a little difficult. For me, they're going to transfer to Pulaski County over Somerset today, and it's a pretty good drive, but it's beautiful down here, so I don't mind it. I don't think it's proper to discuss the trial tactics or anything prior to court, but there'll be a few surprises, I can tell you that.
Defense attorneys say the court erred in giving certain instructions to the jury. Attorneys point to the fact that during the 20-hour deliberations, the panel had asked the court to clarify a portion of those instructions. Defense attorneys have also renewed claims of outrageous government conduct. And another issue seems to be whether the jury's verdict was consistent.
Especially in the case of Wilson Stone, the jury found him not guilty of the charge of conspiracy to distribute cocaine, yet they found him guilty of the substantive charge of distribution of cocaine. And we think that verdict may be inconsistent for the simple reason that statements by co-conspirators were admitted into evidence against Wilson Stone, yet the jury found him not part of that conspiracy.
Charles Coy is expected to make a similar argument on behalf of Owsley County Sheriff Billy McIntosh. Meanwhile, Worth County Sheriff Lester Drake is expected to resign from office in the near future. The sheriff had planned to hand-deliver his resignation to county officials this week, but his continuing medical problems have delayed that announcement. There are apparently no plans to resign on the part of Owsley County Sheriff Billy McIntosh. Last week, the governor's office initiated ouster proceedings against the two lawmen. From the Cumberland Valley Bureau, Neil Middleton, 57 Mountain News. Breathitt County Sheriff Dean Spencer arrived at the federal courthouse to learn whether he would have to stand trial on federal drug conspiracy charges. Spencer and his 5 co-defendants claim the charges should be thrown out because of alleged outrageous conduct by federal agents. The claims include allegations of mental coercion by undercover officers. Defense attorneys also maintain the government is seeking to prosecute the defendants for a crime manufactured and engineered solely by federal agents. The majority of today's proceedings were spent listening to tape-recorded conversations between undercover FBI agents and the 6 Eastern Kentucky lawmen. Defense attorneys say those conversations will bolster their claims of entrapment.
It was analogous to setting the house on fire so you could put it out. But from the testimony this morning, it's already pretty well established that there was no cocaine in the counties until the FBI brought it in.
So far, all of the evidence has been that the only people that had any money and that talked about having any drugs, that talked about having any sort of an organization, started and ended with the FBI. Everything that has been put forth so far and all the evidence that we have suggest, at least as it relates to our client, Dean Spencer, that it was a scheme totally orchestrated, controlled, manipulated, and set up by the government.
Meanwhile, the government claims FBI intelligence indicated Johnny Mann was involved in marijuana trafficking and the protection of pot growers. Both Mann and Bill McIntosh were the subject of previous FBI and KSP investigations dating back as early as 1988.
I don't want to particularly get into that, but it seems to me like in eastern Kentucky, maybe the FBI ought to keep their own doorstep clean first.
It has been our contention from day one that the government created crime where no crime existed, that they came into these counties to try to bust up a coke ring, and as all good officers should do, they didn't find any coke. All the coke that was there was what they brought in.
It's back to business as usual in the Breathitt County Sheriff's Office after a year of uncertainty. On Friday, Dean Spencer was acquitted of drug conspiracy charges. Now that it's over, the Breathitt County Sheriff says he just wants to get out of the limelight and back into police work. Apparently, he's already making plans for future drug investigations, saying the trials made him anything but gun-shy about his department's eradication efforts.
The past year I worked, but I was working a little timid, not for any particular reason, but public sentiment and so forth like that. And Dale and Darrell, the deputies, did most of the arrest and so forth. But I'm not timid now.
No, I don't think we'll be timid on an investigation of drugs or anything like that. We'll just make sure that when we go out that we'll have enough witnesses and things like that that if something does come up, we can cover ourselves.
Meanwhile, Friday's conviction of 3 eastern Kentucky sheriffs has prompted the Kentucky Sheriff's Association to consider asking for legislation to help make the departments more professional. Spencer agrees the trial has put Kentucky's law enforcement community under a dark cloud, but was critical of the group's lack of support, saying whatever happened to one being innocent until proven guilty.
Whether it be association of sheriffs or a union for coal miners, I was under the impression they would stick up to you, for you, but the association absolutely did not stick up for anybody here until it's proven guilty.
Spencer says he's in favor of more training and state funding and called on officials to consider making deputies merit system employees to provide job security. In Breathitt County, Neil Middleton, 57 Mountain News.